Well, hello there. Today we're going to talk about social engineering. So, it's one of the most common attack vectors that an organization is going to see because it's the weakest link. Um, it just so happens that the weakest link is usually people. So, Splunk states, and I'll create a link to it down below, that 98% of attacks rely on social engineering. So it's a manipulation technique that exploits human psychology to gain access to information systems or physical locations rather than relying on technical hacking methods. So social engineers use deceit, influence, persuasion to trick individuals into revealing confidential information or performing actions that compromise security. Let's get into it. So, what we're going to cover the definition, why it matters, common techniques, real world examples, how to prevent, and kind of a conclusion or a path forward. So, social engineering is the psychological manipulation of people into performing actions or divulging confidential information. It is a type of confidence trick for the purpose of information gathering, fraud, or system access, often by exploiting the natural tendency of human trust. So I often see that if you just act like you know what you're doing, people are often willing to just accept that you belong. It's kind of cool. Okay, so social engineering is a widespread threat. It's the most common and effective attack vector, and it does not require the advanced skills of other attack vectors. Okay, so anyone off the street can do social engineering. It can bypass the technical defenses. No matter how strong your defenses are, they can be rendered ineffective by an attacker who successfully manipulates their way through your organization. This is what makes social engineering a critical aspect of cybersecurity. It has a high success rate compared to others, so it's just human tendencies to trust. We have trust, we have some curiosity and some fear, and those you can just play into them. The impact of individuals and organizations is devastating sometimes. So it can lead to things like financial loss, data breach, identity theft, reputation damage. Individuals and organizations are both at risk, making awareness of this vital. So we need to promote a culture of security. By understanding cybersecurity and social engineering, individuals can foster a security conscious culture where employees are trained to recognize and respond to potential threats, significantly reducing the risk of attacks. So this is vital. So phishing and ransomware links are often a gateway into other cyber attacks. So they are just the starting to a greater mess. There are ethical, legal, and compliance reasons why you need to probably instruct your employees on the problems with social engineering and security awareness so that they can understand these tactics and not fall for them. It helps, so understanding social engineering helps individuals and organizations defend against the weakest link in security, which just happens to be people. So some common techniques. So phishing, which is very common. You probably see a lot of these in your mailbox. Attackers send fraudulent emails, messages, or even a website that appears legitimate to trick victims into disclosing information that might get them more access. So spear phishing is a more targeted form of phishing. Spear phishing involves personalized attacks aimed at an individual or organization where they gather information about their target first and craft very convincing messages. It has a higher likelihood of success. I mean, phishing, you can just blast out a ton of emails. Spear phishing takes a little more information. So pretexting is the attacker creating a fabricated scenario. So to help obtain sensitive information. For example, they might pose to be an IT worker, so a coworker, or a trusted authority, just walking around with a clipboard. So trying to get access to systems. So baiting involves luring a victim into a trap, such as free software, maybe an interview for a job, dropping USB drives that can be found by people, downloading software that's on a USB drive or something. So then you have things as simple as tailgating. Tailgating is being behind someone as they walk through a door and getting in. Just not having the proper credentials, but you're following behind someone that does. Someone who has legitimate access. Which I guess one of the things I didn't put on here is shoulder surfing, where you look over someone's shoulder and identify things. Quid pro quo attack is attacker offers something in exchange for information or access. So quid pro quo is this for that. So believing that you're helping someone or that you're getting help from someone, so you're willing to help them back. So impersonating, making the person attacked believe that you're someone else. Maybe it's a trusted colleague, authority figure, vendor, the IRS, the police, your boss, who's in a meeting and needs a Apple gift card right now. Anyway, manipulating the victim into something. So scareware, something involves frightening a victim. So helping them think that their computer's infected by a virus or something. I see this a lot where the attacker claims to have something on you. They don't even give you any details. They just say, hey, we know, we have your search history. We know what you look at. Oh, that's so horrible. What if everyone finds out? No details. And if you think long enough, you might think, oh, shoot, what did I look at in my history? And think of the worst case scenarios. Anyway, so scareware. And they convince you into compromising your security that way. Water holing. This is an interesting technique that takes a real website that's legitimate, that you would visit regularly anyway, and the attacker targets and infects that site because they know you're going to go there. And then when you go there, you download something unaware to you that causes problem. So a watering hole. Phishing is voice phishing. So it's where you trick victims into revealing personal information, posing to be someone else via a phone call or something. So understanding these techniques is essential for recognizing and preventing social engineering attacks, as they exploit human behavior rather than technical vulnerabilities. So people are the weakest link. So real world examples. So Prospect Medical Holdings is a US-based healthcare provider that had a significant issue. Hackers used phishing emails to deceive employees to receive their credentials and gathered lots of information from it. So it was mostly spread via phishing, but other tools were also used once they got in. Discord, you just often get these widespread social engineering campaigns against Discord users. This also happens in other other tools, but trying to steal people's tokens so that you can get private access to their private servers. I should have put GitHub up here because people often try and do the same thing with GitHub, trying to get your credentials and stuff. A really fun one is a Reddit employee phishing. I'll try and include some links down below for some of these. So the Reddit employee phishing attack. This was a targeted attack from a trusted source to get people to click on a malicious link. So quite a few employees were compromised there. So, and I'm actually going to open this if I can. Oh. There we go. Oh, I did. So, there's 15 examples of real social engineering attacks. This is something I found as I was looking for this. I'll include down below, but it has a lot of additional examples that I think are good to try and understand. So let's come back. Okay, I'll link to this down below. Okay. So how do we prevent social engineering? The main way to prevent social engineering is through training. Unfortunately, this is one of those cases where you have to train everybody everywhere to try and solve the problem. Because the problem is people. So regular security training, simulations are great, and just try and increase people's awareness. So that they can watch for it. No matter what, people are still going to fall for it. So one way to keep you safe from some of that is by enabling multi-factor authentication, but we see social engineering getting around that as well. But require multi-factor authentication for all accounts that are sensitive and use strong authentication methods where possible. Which, talking about strong authentication methods, consider strong policies as well and access controls there. So you have the principle of least privilege, where people only have access to what they need, so that when people fall for social engineering, the hackers only get access to the bare minimum. Segregate duties so that a hacker, when they get access, runs into problems because they can't do everything because there's multiple people involved. So they have to compromise multiple accounts. And consider role-based access control to really lock that down. For really sensitive information, have additional checks in place that are, where possible, even a great example, something that's vital, like transferring millions of dollars to open up another branch. Maybe an email is not sufficient. Maybe there needs to be not even a video call, because those can be faked. You can fake face, voice, everything in a video call. Maybe it needs to be face-to-face before you lay down millions of dollars to start up a new branch in a place that you haven't talked about. So with emails, strengthen your email security. Use advanced filters where possible. No matter what, you're not going to catch everything. The more you try and filter, the more legitimate emails are not going to get through, and that causes problems as well. So, but filter emails and watch the headers and try and look for things that are weird and out of the norm. And have a way to report that, hey, this got through, I didn't think it should, and have people who act on that so that things can be contained quickly. Which goes right into watch and maintain the network. Besides just watching the email, watch the network. have devices like intrusion detection, intrusion prevention devices, so that when something does get in, because however it does, often through a person, that it has a hard time. You notice it pretty quick, and it gets shut down, which includes probably endpoint protection response, because a lot of the things nowadays are encrypted end to end. So you need something on the endpoint device to know well enough what's going on. And then with that, with the network, you have to regularly update and patch systems. Otherwise, those vulnerabilities will be exploited after the social engineering. So social engineering is oftentimes the doorway in. Not always. It's just the easiest, the lowest cost doorway in. With your security policies, improve, enforce, just make them better. So some of those would include like an incident response plan, how you report something. Make sure that you're reporting in a way that benefits not only your organization but others. It's hard because lawyers don't want you to say anything, but if we don't say anything, we're not helping each other. Acceptable use policies. Make sure that they're well updated, they're reasonable, they're not too draconian, because then people won't follow them. They need to be followed. And they need to be good. They need to be helpful. People need to understand the reason for them. So, and then role play. Have exercises where people maybe even do in-house social engineering attack to see who falls for it. These are great because people who fall for it once likely fall for it a second time. It's crazy that how you think people would learn, but when you fall for it once, you're more likely to fall for it again. Part of that is because hackers put you on a list, and then you're more likely to get attacked, and so the chances of you falling for it again go up. So, people are the weakest link. You will fall for something. Great, intelligent cybersecurity experts even sometimes fall for these. So, just because you've fallen for social engineering doesn't mean that you're stupid or anything. In fact, the sad thing is, if you know that you fell for social engineering attack, that means you at least identified that it happened. Too many people refuse to understand that they fell for it, and that's worse. So congratulations on at least acknowledging that you fell for it, and that there's something that you can learn from. But prepare so that when people fall for these, because we're not perfect, that something bad is contained. It's quickly discovered. It's detained. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.